Yes, my name is Etienne Clement and I am the director of UNESCO Office for the Pacific States. The session I was chairing this morning was about the 2001 UNESCO Convention for the Protection of Underwater Cultural Heritage.
So why did you choose to organize that session, and what did you hope to gain from doing it?
Well, I'm working for UNESCO, and this is a UNESCO convention, so it's part of our mission, in particular in the Office for Pacific States, to promote that convention on underwater cultural heritage, as this region of the world is particularly rich in cultural heritage.
So what did you hope to see accomplished by the research in your area as represented by the papers that were presented there?
Well, we first wanted to sensitize the delegates participating in the conference in the importance of an international convention, an international text on which countries can agree upon. That's very important in an issue like underwater cultural heritage, which by definition it's international. The ancient shipwrecks, they are found on the seabed. It's difficult to know on which territory they are. More often they are on the seabed in the international sea. So there's a lot of questions that underwater cultural archaeologists wonder before they eventually consider excavating some of these sites or protecting the sites. And if the governments in the world at least agree on some basic principles, these archaeologists can work. I give you an example. The convention contains professional rules, the do and do not in the area of underwater cultural heritage. So by joining the convention, which 45 states have already done, these countries agree on these rules. What can be done towards cultural heritage which lies under the sea? Do we have the right to excavate? What is the approach if we do? Isn't preservation in situ preferable to excavation? If excavation are finally decided, for which purpose? And the convention says clearly it's for the purpose of studies and for the purpose of advancement of knowledge, no commercial exploitation. So the 45 states which have ratified the convention have at least already agreed on this principle. And that's why such a convention is important.
So what do you see as some of the greatest challenges facing this area now, especially with further ratification of the convention by other countries?
Well, the challenge is that there is not that many countries which have the capacity in terms of expertise to actually deal with underwater cultural heritage. Whether it's technical, is it technically possible to protect a site? And is it possible to study, to approach it? Not many people have the technology for that. Now the legal issues, what I was just mentioning a few minutes ago, there is even less experts who can do that. So what I would of course very much expect from this meeting is that more lawyers attending the meeting understand what the archaeologists are going to say, and more archaeologists are going to understand what the lawyers are going to ask as questions. So if we can achieve that, the dialogue between two professions, and I would add a third one, which are the government officials, but there are not that many here. But if government official can say, okay, we have underwater cultural heritage under our jurisdiction, how are we going to deal with that? Who will be authorized to study it? Who will not be authorized? If we authorize it, to which condition, under which condition, and so on and so on. So I'd like at least that a few of these questions we can advance on some of these questions. The ultimate outcome being, of course, that this heritage, which is the heritage of humanity, be actually better known, and that people, you, me, your family, my family, can, let's say, understand what they mean, what message they want to address. That's the ultimate goal.
You sort of addressed my next question, which was going to be about which groups you feel are underrepresented. But how do you suggest that we start getting more lawyers and other individuals, government officials, participating in these conferences?
I think it's a next step. I think it's necessary to have this kind of conference with academics involved in the topic first. And that is what is taking place now. Now I'm pleased to know that there is lawyers there, and they have already asked quite very interesting questions. And there is a few government officials. And the few that are present are those who have already been sensitized by archaeologists in the country who said, well, there's a conference there in Hawaii, you'd better go and listen so that you will understand, and you will eventually say to your government, well, there is a convention which is only proposing good things. It's probably good for the government to look at it before we are facing a tragedy in terms of loss of our heritage. And these government officials, there's at least 5 of them here. I'm sure they will report. So a next meeting could be a meeting of government officials. But first, they have to be informed of what's going on.
Right, makes sense. Okay, great. Any other comments you'd like to make?
Well, I've been very impressed so far by the presentations, and it shows that in that area, of course, there's a lot of people who has a lot of passion. They are passionate for that field. It reminds me what happened 30 years ago with the World Heritage. There was a lot of hesitation for ensuring to World Heritage Site what we call an international protection. Now it's a big success. Every country wants to have World Heritage Site, and there is no longer any, let's say, suspicion that because they become internationally protected, the countries will lose their right of sovereignty. That's the same for underwater. I mean, I think there is a growing understanding that we are no longer speaking about that ships belong to that country, or this object found on the seabed belongs to that. No, it's for everybody.
Thank you.